Okay, everyone. I hope this is live. My name's Hydrus, also known as Captain Hydrus on Twitch. I'm going to be running Splatoon 1 All Scrolls today, which is a marathon, or it's a category which has not received a lot of attention in larger marathons. I did get to see a marathon showing in LAN recently that was Glitch Infinite, so that was pretty cool. So it's kind of like the 100% category of the game. Time's going to start when, I click create my inkling here. I didn't really have an incentive, so yeah, here we go. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, you know, no timer issues there. So you're gonna be noticing that I'm playing Japanese, and the reason for that is Japanese is about 55 seconds faster for this category. It's quite a substantial amount, and on average, you know, my average time in this is like 1 hour and 10 minutes, and we're gonna be going right into the tutorial here. Japanese actually does not save time with those first 2 text boxes. They're gonna be the same speed regardless. But yeah, this is just the tutorial stage. It's nothing really too special. I'm gonna be throwing a bomb here to destroy all the crates a little bit quicker, like saves half a second. I only learned that recently. Yeah, so now we kind of have some downtime, and that was a pretty good tutorial. And that was a really bad balloon RNG. You know, I often reset to that. But yeah, the main reason why the tutorial kind of sucks for speedrunning is you're forced to use this gun called the Splattershot Jr. If you remember it from online, or the online component, it's pretty terrible. The shot variance is pretty awful, very inconsistent paint. It doesn't usually paint a straight path. You know, it paints a Picasso painting rather than painting the ground, and that's often the frustrating part. So while this intro stuff is kind of going on, there's not really a lot of gameplay. I'm gonna be kind of explaining a couple of things. So Splatoon, if you didn't know, is a online multiplayer third-person shooter platformer from Nintendo. This is a new IP. This is the first Splatoon game, and it was released for the Wii U in 2015. And it was active for like 2 years, and then they released the second game. And this game is a classic speedrun-wise. Any percent for this game has the most runs out of like any other category out of the series, I'd say. Has about 160 runs, and a large reason why. And you're gonna see I'm gonna be looking at my gamepad here, and yes, I am playing on the gamepad. You are forced to play on it for the entire run, and it honestly isn't that terrible. You kind of get used to it, and on the gamepad, you'll see like a little, I don't know if you can see that. Well, my glare is really bad right now in my room, but when I look at my gamepad, I'm going to be like buying stuff, buying items, grenades. I'm going to be looking at my map, and you can use the map and the gamepad to your advantage, so that'll be pretty cool. I'll try to explain that when it occurs. Yeah, so every level is locked behind this invisible kettle in the overworld, and if you throw a bomb and then shoot it, you only have to shoot 2 shots when you throw a bomb. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I did mention variance earlier, and this game has some major RNG aspects, but not as much as the second game. But there is a lot of micro RNG as well, and what do I mean by that? Well, it's not just how enemies operate or whatever, it's also about how your gun shoots. So if I shoot in a straight line at a wall, it will not be completely straight, and this will be kind of the first test of that. This is the first scroll that you get in the run, so let's see if I can get it. So that was pretty good. Okay, good. That was a quick regrab on the wall as well. So that was our first scroll. Getting that in 2 goes is pretty good. And all scrolls is, like I said, it's just the 100% category in this game, but the thing is with all scrolls, it's not really... Oh, okay, I don't have a lot of... I do not have a lot of power eggs right now, so I'm gonna get a extra there. There we go. And you didn't really see me going out of my way for a lot of power eggs, but I need at least 50. Oh, that's a really bad pattern, but you need at least 40 to 45 when you leave this level. And then 100 by the end of level 2, so... Oh, I completely forgot to split, because this is a marathon. Completely forgot. And you'll notice there, every time I leave a level, there's about a 2.3 second text box. Now, normally you want to avoid those for any percent, but because this is all scrolls, you want to be collecting those as much as possible, and I'm going to be, exiting the menu with B. So, level 2 is a cycle, or it's a global cycle-based level, and I'm going to see if I can hit a very hard cycle here. Normally... Now, it was found to not be possible to hit the cycle here that you normally do in any percent. You can actually hit it in all scrolls. It was found by a player named Talentry and Ian, who is definitely one of the GOATs in this game. He did more in this game in 8 months than some players did in like 2 years, which is pretty wild. So yeah, not too much to say about that scroll. You just go down there, but you can make the any percent cycle, but you basically need perfect movement, and you need to not have any irregularities when painting the last wall. And if you're familiar with SM64, there is a... I can't believe I made that. There's going to be a trick called Cannonless, and it's going to skip using the cannon. If I get it, it's going to save around 10 seconds, because it's going to skip the... It's going to skip the intended path. Ooh, is this going to work? Wow, I can't believe I nailed that in a marathon. You know what? I fell, but, who cares? We got it. Yeah, that barely didn't work there, but that's okay. Sometimes you can't always get what you want. And because I got the armor there, I'm going to be getting a 10 power egg bonus, which you see right there. This is going to let us buy a thing called Seekers, so let me do my magic here. So you see me looking at my gamepad there, and I did all of that menuing, buying the next grenade that we need, with the touchpad, which is pretty cool. Oh. Yeah, a little bit shaky right now, but, this isn't even the hardest part of the game, so I'm gonna try not to be too mad about that. Something I didn't mention is that, you may not see it, but I'm using this thing called motion controls. And when you think of motion controls, you probably think of, the really shitty, like, Wii motion controls, right? But the thing is with that, the Wii used this technology called, IR sensor technology, which is like something you find in TV remotes, right? And that's not what they did for the Wii U. Splatoon was kind of one of those first games to like really, truly have like great motion controls. So I need to pay close attention here. If my feet are not painted, my jump speed, or my speed is basically gonna get killed like mid-air, and I wouldn't have been able to make that, so that's another scroll. A lot of these scrolls are fairly self-explanatory, so I'm not going to be trying to get too far into them, or describe them in too much detail, because some of the scrolls don't really change the cycles of the route at all. Yeah, Seekers are really nice for this level, because as you see there, they are kind of like the curling bomb in Splatoon 2, if you're familiar with that at all. And the main difference that they have in comparison to curling bombs is that they can, I believe they can travel a much farther distance, and they can also go up walls, which is pretty nice. You'll see that being used into effect later in the game. What sucks about them, though, is that they have a very large startup time, so you cannot do this technique called sub-strafing, which is basically when you hold out your sub-weapon, and then you pick up an item, and then you go back into the inking after holding on your bomb, and this lets us redirect momentum pretty easily. It's a pretty well-known trick in competitive, which didn't really find its way into this game until I started running it. So, You'll probably be wondering what I was doing there, why I was doing this, and that is a intentional glitch. It's abbreviated to RFG, or rapid fire glitch, and we're gonna be using it on pretty much every boss. And for unlocking a couple of tea kettles or level kettles, RFGing in this fight saves around 3 seconds, and we're gonna be using it on standstill objects such as boss tentacles, as you can see there. Now, the only issue with RFGing is that the D-pad, or I'll try to show this in the next phase, if I can. Oh, seems like I got the bad cycle there because I was out of the ink for too long, so I'm gonna have to take a little bit safer route here. Oh. Yeah, that's my focus face. But yeah, RFG, the problem, well, okay, let me make sure I get the scroll here, and then I can explain. So remember when I said all scrolls, when, you know, after you leave the level, it's when you leave the level, it's a 2.3 second text box. Yeah, normally you want to avoid that in any percent, but if you're going from any percent to all scrolls, you actually want to get the scrolls in every single boss fight, and it can be kind of hard to... It can be kind of hard to go for them intentionally if you've ran that category for a while. But yeah, that's World 1 done. Not the best, but... I was supposed to have a commentator today, but he was unable to make it, so I'm trying to just commentate as I go. I used to be a player in the competitive scene. I used to do commentary and stuff, so this stuff like this fits pretty naturally to me. I didn't go into the route too much for World 1 because it's actually numerical, ironically, with how the route works out. But yeah, Seekers are really nice, especially for this level, because there's these long stretches of like pathing where it's not in your ink color, and when you're in an enemy's ink color, you lose speed and you lose a lot of health. So this game kind of focuses on like a regenerative health system, like some newer shooter games. So if you take too much damage, you will die. Also, a difference in comparison to the sequel is that you do not have armor. Oh, I don't know if I can make the... Let's see here. Oh, barely made it. Yeah, that cycle is pretty lenient, but I messed up pretty bad there, so... Yeah, so this cycle is not too hard. Yeah, a little neat spot for that scroll there. I honestly, you know, no cap, man. I did not know that scroll was there. I had to look that one up, so... You know, I'm kind of in shambles right now. Did not get the bullseye there, but that's... Okay, I'm gonna be going for a very risky jump here. I don't know why I'm going for this, but it only saves like 4 seconds. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, I was kind of off cycle there, so luckily they weren't shooting me, but if you're on the fastest possible cycle there, at least half of the time, they will shoot you mid-air and you will not be able to go on that little spot under the balloon. And you can ink that little spot under the balloon, and that's why you can take that route. And Seekers are also really nice because they're also a much faster way of unlocking levels in comparison to a Splat Bomb. So you can fire 2 shots and then do a Seeker throw. It's pretty nice. Seekers do a lot of damage. Oh, okay. Yeah, bombs are also... You kind of notice that in the first level as well, but... Bombs are also really nice for de-aggroing enemies and distracting them. There's another sub-weapon or grenade, as you know, if you want to use a more familiar terminology, that we'll be getting later that is better at de-aggroing, but for now, the Splat Bomb is fine. You'll also kind of notice from ink rails, sometimes I won't be doing a full jump out of the ink rail. You can just unsquid and squid, which is pretty much better than a smaller jump. Because normally the rule of thumb is, if you can do the same action by unsquidding from an ink rail, generally it's faster. Unless you're buffering... That was pretty good. Unless you're buffering an action, of course, like shooting, throwing a sub-weapon, etc. If you can take the same route, and unsquidding doesn't make a difference in the route or the line that you're taking, it's better to unsquig coming from the ink rail. I was going to explain why I unlocked that level before level 4, but I kind of got off track. The reason why I unlocked that level before I went to, or after I completed 7, is because I will be super jumping to that later, and we need a specific sub-weapon there, and it's actually about 5 seconds faster to use that sub-weapon in that level, and it's pretty nice. You'll see why that route kind of works. Unfortunately, we cannot do the glitch here like we can do in any percent, the ROM work. I would have done an incentive for that, but I don't know how much interest there would be. But there is a glitch you can do there in any percent where you can activate the Zapfish early by kind of manipulating the AI. It's pretty interesting, but yeah, that unfortunately does not work from the left side. You have to do kind of the intended path by going on the left. Also a fun fact, if you don't do the glitch in that level, it's actually faster to do that entire level from the left side. It's about 1.5 seconds faster. It's pretty cool. Yeah, this level is one of 3, or it's one of 3 other, like, subtype level. I don't really know how to describe it, but there's a level like this in every world, except for level 5. This scroll is very easy to miss. You know, if I didn't remind myself to pay attention, I would have missed that, because that is one of the easiest scrolls to autopilot on in the game. You know, I've lost runs pretty easily just by talking about something else, and then I miss it, and I'm like, man, you know, I lost like 50 seconds, dude. When I'm climbing up a wall, sometimes you'll see me throw out my sub-weapon, and when the top of a wall, like the ledge on the top of a wall, if that's like pre-inked with your ink, it is faster to actually bring your sub-weapon to transfer all the momentum into the ledge snap. And what a ledge snap is, it's pretty much another piece of tech if you play competitive. It's just when you go up a wall, it's just snapping to the wall instead of jumping above the wall for a second or two. So that is the final thing we'll be buying in this run. That is burst bombs. Now, burst bombs don't save as much time in this game as, or don't save as much time in this level in comparison to the other one, but it's still a nice time save, and you'll kind of see why. So burst bombs have a wide variety of use cases, and I'm so glad it was routed in, because you can do stuff like that. You can throw it at a fan and it will propel it to max speed. It also makes this movement a lot faster. So the scroll here is also kind of similar to 9 in that it doesn't, you know, differ that much from the intended path. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, that was a good jump. So yeah, you'll see a lot of casual players or beginner speedrunners do is they won't tend to. I won't be using a burst bomb here because I have to save it for killing this dude. A little bit of ink consumption there. These fans can be kind of weird because you have to shoot them exactly 3 times or 3 bullets. If you shoot it with 2 shots, it will be too little and it will not come down enough. If you shoot it with more than 3, so like, let's say 4 or 5, it will come down too much, and then you'll have to wait for it to come back up. So that's a pretty hard to do, especially in NG+, where the fire rate of your gun is a lot higher in general. And you'll see there that I looked at my gamepad again. Once you've unlocked a level, the game will autosave, and you can super jump to that level from pretty much anywhere in the entire map. All the worlds are loaded in. Oh, okay. I'm kind of surprised I made that. Burst bombs are also really nice because they can instantly inflate sponges, and that makes for a... that kind of allows for another trick towards the end of this level. Burst bombs are the fastest at spreading ink, and they also have the best ink efficiency, or they cost the least amount of ink in comparison. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what he was doing there, but he was doing something. Oh, got a really slow aggro there. I think I went a little bit too early, but that's okay. That only loses about a second. Yeah, like I was saying, I don't know if you can notice, but on the back of my ink tank, or on the back of my player model, I have this thing called an ink tank, and this is essentially a visual indicator of how much ink that I have. So this game is kind of unique as not just a game, but also a shooter. That was the second version of Candleless, by the way. It's only around a 5-second time save in comparison to the 10-second time save that you would see in the Candleless from level 2, but it's still pretty cool. You actually, the only time they use a cannon in this category is in an auto-scroller section towards the late game, which unfortunately you cannot skip that one. Due to the insanely long death barrier that you would have to cross. Yeah, like I was saying about the mechanics, like the shooter mechanics. Oh, yeah, no, Seekers are not the only upgrade that you get in the run. Sorry, it's hard to divert my attention, reading chat, commentating, and playing the game. No, you get Seekers and Burst Bombs, and both are extremely, extremely useful. The other thing is that when you get Burst Bombs, it also lets you do RFG a lot easier because you have 3 inputs to spam rather than 2, so that was really fast. Let's see if I can do it. That was not the fastest RFG. I'm not in the best position in my chair right now, so let's see if I can show off a little bit more. So yeah, I didn't need to go that hard with the RFG. You actually don't go hands-free for that one, but yeah, with every last button in each of these phases, you're going to be doing an RFG, like that. And then you're going to be doing kind of a faster one, like that. So because you have 3 inputs, I can kind of roll my thumb along the ridge of the D-pad like that, and it's going to be a lot easier to do. It's also, RFG will also be a lot faster as well. Normally, if the intended strat for this fight, you have to go to the top, but instead you can just throw a bomb and RFG from the bottom. It's pretty cool. That was pretty good. Pretty good fight. Yeah, unfortunately, not a lot of the boss fights in this game are particularly noteworthy with the strategies. I would say the best boss in this game is particularly the final one. It's a favorite among casuals and speedrunners alike. I won't spoil it, too much, but you'll kind of see why that's a highlight by certain people. Yeah, so the early game didn't really have a lot of major sections of RNG in particular, but this is where the major RNG is going to start kind of cropping up, or advancing pretty soon. The second level in this world has the most RNG variance, I'd say, out of any level in this game. It has around an RNG variance of like 30 seconds with the enemy patterns that you'll get in the final room. It can be kind of annoying if you get the worst pattern or trying to get a run going. If anyone doesn't know, I am the world record holder for this category. I am currently trying to get a 106, and it's pretty hard just because of, even though I'm fairly away from my sum of best, there's a lot of RNG. Not just micro RNG that you have to kind of adapt to, but major RNG as well. So yeah, that unsquid thing I mentioned from the ink rails in level 4, you'll see that used to great effect here. I have to jump here because an unsquid will not give me enough vertical distance. Nice thing about burst bombs, they can do something like that. A little cool time save. Gives you a better line. If I can get the bomb throw here on the cycle. Oh, was a little bit too early, unfortunately. Cannot get that. Oh, okay. Burst bombs are super nice as well. Yeah, because they're the fastest at spreading ink, and you can do stuff like that. And that can ink the wall as well as activate the ink rail at the same time. It's pretty cool. And the scroll is just tucked away in the back here. That was very good. I actually unsquidded there pretty early. So, Seekers have this one property that I mentioned. They can actually target on enemies. There's no other sub-weapon like that. They're kind of like a... Wow, I am just having some Pega aim right now. Like, I don't know what that was. Yeah, you can kind of see there that there's a little cursor on that enemy before I dropped, and you can actually throw a Seeker all the way from, you know, the top of the map, pretty much, from falling. And that lets you get another kill on that guy. So it saves a couple of seconds, you don't have to fire an extra Inkzuka shot, and you can actually use the Inkzuka to save a little bit of time in the next section as well. Yeah, and any percent for 10, you actually skip that entire stage, but you cannot do that in all scrolls, and the main reason is that the scroll is located in the location after you do the skip. That is one of the bigger skips that got discovered last year, but you can... The skip that was discovered here, you actually can use in any percent, mostly due to the logic that... I kind of got a bad pattern, here, so we have to do a kind of risky jump. Okay, first try, not bad. So, yeah, like I said, the scroll is located... Because the scroll is located after the... Or the scroll is located before the skip, you can do the skip. So I'm going to try to show it off here. And get the best collision there. This is a trick called Messiah Skip. It essentially just skips getting a key item and a checkpoint. And I use the fastest setup, which is also the most consistent. Let's see if I can get it here. Alright, first try. You know. We got it, boys. We're in here. Oh, okay, well, this is, Oh, wait. Hold up, champ. Wait. Wow, okay, I thought I was gonna be kind of screwed over there, but, the game said, you know, we'll let you pass for this marathon. No, sometimes, all the flutters in the first room, if you get a bad pattern, it's only like a 1 second time loss. But if you get a bad pattern in the last room, that's over 30 seconds of time loss, because, well, the key guy is actually on a global cycle, so the key guy that I killed there is on a global cycle, but the flutters are not. The flutters can kind of just be, you know, wherever, kind of, and it's really not the best. But that was actually pretty good. I expected that to be much worse in a marathon setting, but yeah, Messiah Skip is pretty cool. It was found to be inconsistent for a very long time until another Japanese runner named Fuyo Nico, they found a faster setup. And yeah, it's one of the few any percent skips that you actually, that you can do in this category. Just want to make sure I don't die here. You have to follow a very specific line in that room, otherwise you will aggro all the enemies, and you'll die. And because there is no checkpoint in that room, you'll be reset to the beginning. And for such a small stage like that, it's a fairly substantial time loss as well. And that mechanic I kind of mentioned with, you know, unlocking tea kettles with burst bombs, or no, with splat bombs and Seekers. You also use that with burst bombs, so the main combo that you'll see me unlocking with a really far away kettle, I'm going to be using a splat bomb, and then, switched to the wrong thing there. I'm going to be using a splat bomb, a burst bomb, and that's going to unlock it fairly easily, and that's going to unlock a ton of routing options. Nice, I got a good cycle there. Usually, if you have really poor movement, or if you're in the ink for too long, the ink strike will be kind of there, and it will be not the best. And how the ink strike mechanic kind of works in these on the Octa Striker levels is that the longer that you're out of the ink, the longer this kind of in-game timer kind of ticks. And yeah, sometimes with where you're going, it can be detrimental to the path that you're taking. So, yeah, getting a bad ink strike cycle is not particularly, it's not particularly hard in 9, but it can be harder in that stage, and For the next two Octastriker levels, we're actually going to be manipulating that kind of in-game ink strike timer in really neat and creative ways. So this stage is another big reason why burst bombs save time, and it's all because of the cycle skip that you can do in this first part of the room. So because they're the fastest at spreading ink, like I said, you can do this small little sequence break here. Let's see if I can get it. Okay. That was, I don't know if I'll be able to get... actually, I'll probably still be able to get it. So we're actually a cycle ahead of this room. Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, I made a small movement mistake there, so I will not be getting the cycle. But that is okay. Yeah, normally you can go up these two walls early, and then you can make a super cycle at the end of the last room. Not sure what I'll be on here, but I'll try to... Oh, I'll try to adapt. Like I was trying to say at the beginning of the run before I got a bit distracted with what I was trying to commentate, this category is not called 100%, mostly because there is no in-game moniker or connotation for 100%, so once you get all the scrolls, you don't really get anything. Like, kind of like Splatoon 2, where if you do all the stuff in that game, you can get this percentage called 1000%. But this game does not have that, so we do not use a percentage moniker. We just use all scrolls, and that's kind of been the naming convention ever since this category has been developed or created. This level is pretty cool. It's one of the only levels in the game where everything's really invisible, and you're gonna say, like, okay, how does this guy know where everything is? Like, probably cheating. It's like, yes, I am cheating. Unfortunately, I did expose that about myself. But now, once you gotta know where everything is, it's not too bad. Yeah, for the longest time, I actually collected that scroll from the right side instead of the left. And then I was like, why don't you do it from the left, you know? And I was able to gold, the segment by about 2 seconds, I believe, just from a simple little route change. It's kind of crazy what your eyes avoid. Oh, what your eyes avoid when you're kind of like the only runner of a category. Also, with my opinion on all scrolls, I actually think this is one of the best categories in the game, and I'm glad I'm able to showcase it in a marathon like this for a great cause. So I'm going to be skipping the checkpoint there, and the reason for that is the line that I'm taking, and this is where kind of micro-RNG plays a big part, so if my feet are not painted, that was perfect. Usually I don't get... I lost a run there yesterday, and I kind of mauled it. It was not the best, the best thing ever. But, yeah, there's two components to kind of micro-RNG, or shot variance, which is kind of when your reticle is on a target, and the bullets kind of go straight on the reticle, left or to the right of it. Another nice time save there. Instead of going up the wall normally, you can throw a burst bomb at the ink rail and activate, and then you can actually go onto it mid-air. It's pretty cool. This is easily one of the most boring boss fights in the game, so I will not be describing it too much. I'll just be describing the more kind of basic mechanics. But with all scrolls, yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite categories in the game, although it is the most difficult. It is one of the most difficult for higher level runner. It's just difficult for all skill levels, so it's not, it's why not as many people have ran this in comparison to something like Any% or NG Plus or something to a similar note. But the main kind of shtick of this fight is you have to ink the ground where it is inkable, and sequentially they're going to add these parts of the floor where you cannot ink the floor, and that's bad because again, you move slower when you are, like, when you're not swimming, anything other than swimming is pretty slow, right? So that introduces some movement complications. Also, you cannot ink non-inkable surfaces. I know. A rhetorical statement like that, you know, it's pretty insane. But yeah, and also this boss only gets de-aggroed or stuck when it rolls across inked ground, and if it rolls for too long, or if you don't ink enough of the ground, it'll actually just roll the other side of the arena and add another cycle, and that's a pretty hefty time loss. And when the nice thing about this is too, is that you can kind of do this boss fight whatever you want, because, or however you want, just because the arena is so large, you can kind of do your own way or your own strat. It's really cool. Another fun fact, the RFG glitch was actually discovered by a runner. You may have heard of him. He's kind of the poster boy for Splatoon speedrunning. He's ran each of the any percent categories for the Splatoon series. At GDQ, his name is Tones Balones. He found that accidentally in this boss fight, or in that boss fight, kind of dicking around. And he golded the segment by about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds, and not really realizing what he had did, so... yeah, really cool time save. Definitely gives an element of skill, and the reason for that is the D-pad. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the D-pad, and this is the analog stick where you move. So because the D-pad is located under the analog stick where you move, you can really only RFG or mash with RFG when you're not moving, just due to how the controller is. I don't know why I didn't unsquid there. Due to how the controller is designed. So now we're going to be entering World 4. This is a world you don't really get to see in a lot of categories, because you actually skip this 90%. It's a very well-known glitch. It was discovered 3 days after launch, but do not do it in this cat for obvious reasons. It technically could be faster, because World 4 skip, it skips the... obviously skips World 4, but it also skips the intro cutscene for World 5, which, for World 5, it is one of the longest in the entire game. It's around 25 seconds, but it's unfortunately been tested, and World 4 skip is not faster for... it's unfortunately not faster for this category, which thankfully it isn't, because it's a 3-pixel... it's as close to a pixel-perfect trick as you can get it to be. It's around 3 pixels wide, it's not the best. Yeah, World 4 is easily the most difficult world in this category in general. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, I barely made that! That should have worked! That was not good. Yeah, so I actually hit the part of that pinwheel, or plant, or like, part of the wheel there, where it actually gives you the least amount of speed, so... I honestly don't really know how that worked. That was, pretty strange. A nice little substrate fair to pick up the key. Something I didn't mention is that when I touch Zapfish, I'm trying to touch the top of them, if possible, if I'm coming from an ink rail, because it's actually about 1 second faster to touch the top of the Zapfish, rather than, you know, touching the front of the Zapfish. Because if you think about it, if you're coming from an ink rail, if you jump from the ink rail to the Zapfish, it's better to jump on the top of it rather than swimming. It's a slightly better line. A little small optimization. You won't really... oh, did not think that was gonna hit. Oh. I always look there, man. I always look. You know, did I get it? And it's like, well, I mean, there's a sound that plays, and there's also the autosave icon, so I really shouldn't be looking there, but, you know, old habits die hard, right? So this is one of those levels I mentioned where... this is the only canon segment they use in the entire game, and it's for a auto-scroller section. The scroll happens to be located kind of in the auto-scroller section. Oh, okay. Yeah, Seekers are also a nice way to de-aggro, but you don't often see that too much of an application in the run itself, so you can de-aggro those two guys and kill that dude, so he's not in the way when you climb this. Yeah, so all we're gonna be doing in this cannon is firing 3 shots, so we're gonna time 1 shot here. And so when the first shot finishes, the reason why I arc that first shot, the reason why I delay it is so when it hits the fan, I can shoot the second shot, and then fire the third shot as a buffer, kind of, and then the fourth shot, we'll be fine. And kill this guy, make sure he doesn't do anything. Okay. I actually found it was faster there to jump around the block instead of cleaning up the wall. It saves around a second. And I don't know if there's been a lot of levels where there's been kind of enemies super jumping in, but those enemies they spawn into the map kind of relative to where you are. So if you stand kind of towards the top right, they'll be in the top left, etc. It all follows a specific... system, I guess. Yeah, this is easily one of the worst levels in World 4, and probably one of my least in the entire game, and it's mostly because of a couple jumps that you need to do in the second room. You'll kind of see why. So, first part is kind of setting up this cycle skip jump here. I have to kill this enemy. This is a setup from Tones Ballones. I have to throw a bomb here. Make sure the edges is painted. Okay, so that was good. Oh, that's... I don't know if I'm able to make the cycle. So I need to... Yeah, a little bit... Oh my god. Okay, well... I unfortunately missed that, so I'll not be able to make the cycle, so I have to... Okay. Okay, let's not become too anxious here. So that was pretty scuffed, but I still got that jump. Nice little platforming skip there. You know, I hate when I know when I'm gonna say something and then I forget it, you know. That sucks. Yeah, no, so that room kind of follows a similar theme in that if you die in that room, you respawn right at the beginning and they have to wait for the cycle. And that's a 20 to 30 second time loss depending on where you die. Is not the best. It's not the best. That went pretty well. I expected World 4, at least the first half of World 4 is considerably harder than the second half, I would say. So this is another cool way of unlocking. So we're gonna be using an unsquid slap bomb through here. And act... Oh, I don't know why that didn't unlock. It's like 1 shot away. So this is another kind of level with some major aspects of RNG, and it's mostly in the ending. And because I will not be getting a safety armor, because, you know, why would I get a safety armor? I've gotta go fast, but... Because I will not be getting that, I have to be pretty careful with my movement here. Because that wall was at a slight incline, it's actually not faster to spam X up the wall. It's actually faster to just swim normally up the wall there. Let's see if they're gonna be nice to me today. Oh, seems like they'll not, but... they can also shoot you out of the ink rail after you're already in it. That has happened to me before. It's not the best feeling. You know, after you get past 17, after you get past the copium, it really isn't. So yeah, because we unlocked those 2 levels, we can super jump to that now. So 19 is the one we unlocked pretty early on, and this is also kind of a cycle-based level. The cycle is extremely lenient. There is an any percent exclusive cycle, which saves around 2 seconds, but it is not possible in this category, mostly due to the fact that you have to go out of your way pretty far towards the end for the scroll. So this cycle will be fairly consistent regardless. Yeah, what are some fun facts I could talk about? Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about that in the intro for the tutorial. So it was not known for a really long time, but the disc version of this game is actually faster than the digital version for new game categories. Digital disc saves about 9 seconds in comparison to... Okay, will this work? Ah, screw it, I'm gonna go for it. Okay, you know what? We got it. We got it. Okay. Gotta go for that in a marathon. So yeah, disc saves about 9 seconds. We don't really know why it's faster. But it's a fairly substantial time save, as well as playing on version 1.0 saves an additional 4 seconds, and it makes some of the enemy aggros a bit... it also makes some of the enemy behavior and aggro behavior just a little bit harder. But 4 seconds over such an optimized run like this... Yeah, exactly. You know, I could just do every safe strat, but I've done... I mean, this is mostly, like, you know, what I do in my runs. Even if I failed it. So this is one of the Octostriker levels that I mentioned, and we're going to be taking a very specific path of movement here to hopefully not get... Okay, well, unfortunately I did not have the Seeker there. So, yep, okay, so piling on the mistakes there. Spaghetti's happening. So I need to follow a very specific line there to kind of manipulate his cycle. And I'm gonna get one of 2 cycles here. I haven't gotten anything yet, so... Oh, okay, well, okay. So I failed a trick there. That is called Sponge Jump. It's pretty much one of the only tricks that you'll find in World 4. It's pretty much just a corner cut. It only saves around 7 seconds. That is actually very surprising not get a cycle at all there. Alright, you know what? Screw it, we're gonna go for it. Oh my god, dude, that was insane! That's... I can't believe I got that in a marathon. So, you'll kind of be confused what happened there. So RFG doesn't just apply to your gun; it also applies to specials. So I kind of hacked the game there. I fired a ton of Inkzuka shots. Unfortunately, that is the only spot in the game where you can use that. It only saves a whopping 1.3 seconds. I was kind of the person to first start doing that in IL speedruns of this game, as well as full game. And that was really fast. It's very hard to do that strat, mostly because you are trying to aim, kind of adjust to where he is, because he can float to the left or right, and you're trying to RFG. And when you're RFGing, you're not really, like, moving. So, I can't believe I got that. I'm actually pretty proud of that. So this boss is not in any other Splatoon game. Has not returned. He's just a giant shark. He's pretty awesome. Oh, that was... Yeah, it's pretty simple. You just gotta knock out his teeth. It's kind of like the eel from Sunshine, if you're familiar with that. You kind of gotta knock out his teeth, give him a good dentist, a good dental cleaning. And you throw the bomb in its mouth. And it progressively gets harder. It's gonna be stronger teeth. He's gonna aggro you faster. It's gonna get a little bit more difficult. I'd say this is definitely probably one of the hardest boss fights outside of the final boss. Yeah, I practice my RFG in between every phase there, just to kind of keep my reflexes warm. Now he has golden teeth, and this definitely takes the most amount of shots to destroy. That's why I throw a bomb there for extra damage. Okay, good. That could go really bad. And the reason why I use burst bombs there is, again, because of the ink efficiency. I can throw 2 burst bombs, versus if I just throw a splat bomb, I can only throw 1. And, oh, let's see if I can... Yeah, so you spawn really close to the Zapfish. It's really easy to miss this. So, oh, okay, almost missed that. I'm taking a lot of risks in this run, but I'm not risking that. Like, I've lost runs there where I go too fast because I'm spawned so close to the Zapfish in comparison to other bosses, and I literally miss the scroll, and then the run is invalid, so I have to go into the boss fight. I lose another minute. Yeah, it's pretty awful. So yeah, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about with the intro cutscene here. So there's been an intro cutscene in pretty much every world that you enter. But this one is definitely one of the longest. So this is also part of the time save. So yeah, the text box is there, and the cutscene, and World 4 is all what you skip with doing World 4 skip. And World 4 skip is cool, but unfortunately, if you do it on your casual file, you will be inaccessible from getting a multiplayer-related weapon, so... I believe when you complete a world in the single player, you get a related weapon in the online, and you'll not be able to get the Deuce Squiffers, so Deuce Squiffer fans, I'm sorry. Yeah, again, kind of utilizing that bomb throwing technique to unlock kettles from really far away from you can let us do, you know, Worlds 4 and 5 completely out of order. This is one of the only levels where it is actually the exact same as any percent, so the All Scrolls and any percent CGs or community golds are actually the exact same, I believe. They're just adjusted. You only have to add about 2.3 seconds, which is how long the text box shows up before you close it with B. You can also use the touchscreen, but I don't think that matters as much. Yeah, you don't have to go out of your way for the scroll at all, and you can still technically make the cycle towards the end of the level. Yeah, it's just right here. I have to kind of make a tricky jump here. There we go. Throwing a bomb to explode these crates so we don't have to do it ourselves. It's a nice time save. That technique isn't as prevalent in this game as compared to the second, but, you know, it's there. Okay, gotta jump over this, and then we're good to go. Okay, make sure I have Burst Bomb selected. Just want to ensure that I don't forget that. Oh, that... Okay. Okay, that was good. Yeah, that is... You get a really bad pattern there. You have to adjust. You have to say, like, okay, well, there's a hole in this line of ink I have to correct. A lot of this game is adaptation. You know, what kind of patterns you get, adapting to it. It's definitely an underrated skill. It's probably one of the hardest aspects of being a top runner is understanding what kind of shot RNG you get and then reacting to it. Because if you get really bad shot RNG but you can't react to it, you'll lose a lot of runs. Okay, so this boss is pretty fucking terrible. I excuse the language, but it's terrible. This RNG is not the best simply because... Now I have to get this armor. 90% of the time, they are going to kill me. And the reason for that is there's like 3 or 4 enemies spawned in at like any given point, and they're all shooting me while I'm trying to get the scroll. And this stage probably differs the most in comparison to other stages. Oh, what? Okay, you know what? I don't know how that works. That usually doesn't happen. 90% of the time, they do kill me there, so that's actually kind of rare that I didn't get my armor broken. Yeah, and Armorless is pretty much just an IL. That was insane. I actually might gold that. That was kind of nuts. Yeah, I don't know if that was a goal or not. I'll have to check, but that felt pretty good. Kind of surprised I got that. Also in a marathon. So yeah, you go super far on your way there, and that is actually the multiplayer map, Salt Spray Rig. You know, the hated map that everyone did not like. This is another multiplayer map, Black Belly Skate Park, one of the smallest maps in Splatoon. Sometimes yeah, you know, they will use multiplayer maps for some of the levels, but sometimes they'll just use original levels. It's a neat mix, and they'll have like remixes and stuff. So I moved in a very specific way there, and the reason for that is you gotta move slow in that stage to go fast. You know, confused? Let me explain. So that ink strike in-game time mechanic, I was out of the ink for a specific amount of time to actually get that guy stuck in an animation so I could quick kill him with a balloon there. I threw a burst bomb at the balloon, which killed that guy, and it ended that room, or ended that section. section. That is one of the worst unlocks in the game to miss. Okay, this is one of the last levels with RNG variants. This doesn't have a ton, but it can still be pretty bad. The CG for this level is actually extremely old. It's over 5 years old. And the reason for that is no one has grinded this category enough to get it. Getting perfect RNG is extremely rare. It's like a 5% chance. And the person who has that is Moofish, also one of the few runners in this game to have a record in every category. I've also had a record in every category, as well as Talentry and Ian. You're one of only 3 people to have that renown. Moofish, unfortunately, does not run. Ian is taking a break, but I still run this game. Even when I take breaks, you know, I've ran this game for 3 years, and it's definitely one of my favorite, easily one of my favorite speed games, or at least it's up there. See what kind of pattern I get right now? Okay, this is like second best. So the worst pattern is actually when he's moving away from you. So any pattern where he is moving towards you is pretty good. The center is optimal though. The thing I didn't mention with substrafing is that substrafing is actually that technique that I mentioned does not work with Seekers, because Seekers, if you noticed, or if you played this game, have a very long amount of startup times, or lag, I guess. And because of that, when you try to substrafe, you'll be put in this animation, because the game is trying to, like, the game is thinking that you're gonna throw it, but you're not, and that's why you don't... When you see me substrafe, I'll quickly switch during periods of downtime, and I'll not be using the Seeker for... You know, I'll not be using it for substrafing. This one's pretty cool. It's kind of at the bottom. And then you take some sponges to... Oh, get back up. Seekers are nice too, because they can also instantly inflate sponges, but you'll really only see that mechanic in this stage due to how it's kind of designed. Oh, that was a little bit too early. A mechanic with the Inkzuko that you'll probably not understand is that when you fire the Inkzuko, you actually get pushed back a little bit. So when you're ledge snapping from that, you have to ledge snap at a specific time so you not get pushed back. Kind of like what happened there. Wow, that guy just got endgamed. That was yeah, goodbye. Okay, kind of a similar thing here as the 16. Moving in a very specific line here, manipulate where these guys spawn, and hopefully I can get it. Shift to the center. Okay, good. Okay, I didn't have to do that, but I had to show off. Yeah, that was not faster what I did. I just thought it looked cool. This is the final level, and this level is honestly kind of difficult. I'm still kind of shocked that we do this level last in any % related categories. We're just trying to go through the overworld as fast as possible. This is also the only level of switches. You see this a lot more in Splatoon 2, but it's only in this level. And burst bombs can be used to instantly activate switches. So there's really so many applications. You know, it really sucks that they got rid of it. I hope they get, you know, they bring it back in. What? Oh. Okay. I really hope they bring it back in Splatoon 3. Again, a nice little skip here. A little bit similar to 13. You can skip that switch there and bring this all the way down. And we're going to be getting the final scroll in the game at Santa Boss. And curve in. Okay. The reason we kept the Inkzuka is we're actually going to use it in this section. It's faster to use it in this section because of this. And what you can also do is when you get to this part, you can fire it and strike down, and there you go. A little bit of cool special management there. Because we have the burst bombs, we can activate those switches as soon as possible and climb those as soon as possible. This is still active, all you have to do is just slide off. Target that guy with the Seeker, get him, go off this corner to get a momentum boost, go to this corner so I can aggro this guy. He doesn't go, like, in the direction that I dislike. Need to keep the Seeker so we can have it for the beginning of the boss fight so we can get that initial movement. And yeah, that's a sub 1 all scrolls. I'm kind of shocked I got that, you know, right now. That's pretty good. A sub 1 all scrolls before the boss fight, obviously. So we're going to be jumping to 25 because that is one of the closest levels to Octavia, which is the saucer that you see there. Oh, almost entered that level there. That was not the best, unfortunately. Alright, yeah, and I have sub-splits for this fight where I time each section of this boss fight specifically to see where I'm losing or gaining time, because this boss fight is fairly optimized. Yeah, so I have enter, and then I have the 5 phases. The main reason why I did sub-splits is, yeah, to just see my progress, and also when I was grinding for the IL record, I needed to see my pace, so I just used splits. Yeah, so, you know, if you're kind of bored during the boss fights, I understand. They're not that interesting. You can only commentate so much, but I hope you're watching, because this is one of the best boss fights. This is like a top 10 boss fight in a Nintendo game, man. It's, you know, if you're to watch this run, you're lucky. Because it's pretty cool. And it has a skill ceiling. There's really cool tricks. There's skips. You know, you utilize the main glitch, RFG. There's no glitches in this phase, unfortunately, because how the cycle skips kind of work, or the attack skips, is you need both fists to come out one after the other. But because the fists only come out, because the fists only come out one at a time, you'll not be seeing anything in this phase. It's just little optimizations and RFGing, which is much faster than normally shooting it. Eat this. That's what it says in English. Yeah, eat my wasabi beats. I think that's what he says. I haven't played this game casually in, like, 6 years, but you know what, man? I can play this game casually because I love this game. And if you truly love a game, you can play it normally without any speedrun tricks. Also pretty easy scroll to miss. We're gonna be getting after this first, this is not a skip, by the way, this is just a normal optimization. So we're shooting this first fist right in front of my face. I'm gonna be delaying the first fist, so the second fist is right in front of my face, and I can do that little RFG thing, so that is not a skip. This is a cycle skip coming up. If I can get this is gonna save around 10 seconds. Okay, good. Second one. Again, not a substantial time save, but there's essentially 2 different ways to do cycle skips. One of them is pretty much the way the top runners do it. So, that is called a fist skip, and it's pretty much, this game runs in 60 FPS, by the way, so you have to be mashing so fast on the first fist that the game does not register the second fist coming out. It is pretty hard, especially under pressure. Oh, I fell down there. That's okay. Just losing a little bit. And because of that, it basically just makes cycle skips much easier, because all you have to do is mash super fast on the first one and mash super fast on the second one. And it's not save or lose time in comparison to the other method of doing the cycle skip. It's just more consistent, and that's what you're going to be doing as a top runner. Your mashing should be fairly consistent. That was really good. That's one of the hardest fist skips in this fight, so that was pretty good. So yeah, if I don't move forward immediately, he will actually move more, because his cycles depend on, you know, a lot of things. You know, where he is in the map, where you are. Oh, that's... Okay, I kind of messed that up, but that's okay. that was a normal fist optimization, so that's fine that I messed that up. I moved forward a little bit too early there. You know, a little screw up. And because I got the Izuka, I can fire it at the subwoofer there pretty easily. Save some time. Yeah, it's okay to mess up normal fist sets or optimizations. But messing up cycle skips is pretty terrible. Yeah, so the other way that you can do a cycle skip is you shoot the first fist decently fast, but not fast enough, and then you delay the other one to the ground in a specific position. And this is the only phase where you can actually skip a fist. You're allowed to skip a fist. And does not affect the cycles or the tricks. I'll not be using the Izuka here. I'm going to be using it in the final set of subwoofers, not in this set of subwoofers, because it is actually faster to use it there in comparison to this phase. I'll explain why, like, kinda later. Yeah, all the cycle skips make this boss fight. It takes it from like 9 minutes to 7 minutes and 40 seconds. It's quite substantial. So if you're learning this game, definitely try to learn them. Or at least one of them, because they do save time. So because I skipped that first bit, or because I skipped the second fist in the beginning part there, I did a route called Fast Phase 4, and that only saves around 2 seconds. And it pretty much means that you have to get the cycle skip in order for it to work. If you don't do the route, it can be... How can I phrase this? If you do not do the route, it's a lot more lenient, so it's more of a top runner thing. Alright, so this is where music starts getting really good, so if you like good music, stick around. Okay, so this is the final cycle skip. Gotta get the skip right here. And then it's smooth going. Oh, that was really, really bad. Well, I did not expect to choke that, but that's okay. That's only gonna lose about 3 seconds. I just have to get a backup fist skip here. Yeah, I don't know why that's one of the easiest ones that, you know, obviously, nail the hardest one, fail the easiest one. That's how speedrunning works, pretty much. Yeah, I've been in this exact situation before. I actually got a PB. Failing that, so... Even though I lost 3 seconds. So yeah, still technically got it there, because I got a backup cycle skip, so we're good. So you'll kind of notice at the end of Phase 4, the subwoofers are a lot closer in comparison to the ones in Phase 5, so I want to be using the Inkzuka here, so... Alright, this is the end of the run. Time's gonna end when Octavio hits the robot. Good RNG. No iframes there. Alright, I can't believe the time I'm getting right now. Okay, that was fucking insane. That was, for reference, my PB is a 107.02. And I just got a 107.37 in Marathon with, like, probably 3 big mistakes or 2. That was crazy. I did not expect to get that. I'll be comfortable with sub 110, but, that was nuts. I can't believe it, man. That's like, literally 30 seconds off, or no, like, 35 off of my PB. Yeah, that was, wow. Well, I'm glad that I get to show that off to you guys, you know? That was, that's still a really good time. That's like 2nd place on the leaderboard, technically, I think. Or 2nd best time. Yeah, that was a very good run extremely good run for a marathon. I apologize if I couldn't explain everything. Solo commentary can be a bit stressful, but I hope you liked All Scrolls. If you want to speedrun Splatoon, we have a Discord server, and this game is seeing a resurgence, even though it's around 6 years old as a speed game. I guess I can just give a shout out since people usually do that. I like to shout out Ian. He found some newer strats and how to incorporate them into this category. Shouts to Moofish. He originally inspired me to run this category. Shouts to the community as well, because without them, I wouldn't really be here. And yeah, if you want to watch me do all scrolls, I'll be doing more record attempts for the first 106 in the game. Excuse me. My Twitch is Captain Hydrus. I'm usually the only one streaming Splatoon sometimes, so won't be too hard to find me. Yeah, the credits are pretty cool. They're you can just paint over them, you do little smiles. I'm still shocked, man. I can't believe I'm looking at that right now. Yeah, I'll probably just hand it off when the credits end here. Might as well let people enjoy it. Yeah, what keeps me coming back to Splatoon is the controls, the motion controls, the smooth response time, the glitches, the routing. I don't know, I've just been playing these games for like 6 years now, and I cannot wait for Splatoon 3. I hope you guys are excited for that as well. Alright, that'll be it for me. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, be sure to donate to a great cause. I think up next we have Bleed. Be sure to check that out. The runner has 2 runs in this marathon, and yeah, good luck to everyone.